Shabbat Shalom to all. Shabbat Shalom. How you doing today? I'm doing good, thanks. How about you? I've been enjoying your posts. I'm doing fine, Christine, Dan, Tina, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
All right, so for those of you on Zoom, we're having a bit of a, for those of you on Zoom, we're having a bit of a technical problem. For those of you on Zoom, can you hear me, please? Hello? Those of you on Zoom, everybody, you need to mute yourself. You need to mute. So we can't do it for you tonight. So please mute. I don't know that I can't because the computer's not working, which is why we can't do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen on the Zoom screen, it's nice to see all of you, and there's a goodly number of you. But I need for you. All right, I need someone with magic powers to go to all their homes and have them.
Are they naughty or nice?
Yeah. So we're having a technical problem. We can't mute them. So you need to mute yourselves. I think everybody got the message. Thank you very much. And Shabbat Shalom to all of you. And as a matter of fact, it's nice to see that you were so chatty and talking with each other. It's very nice. But there's a lag between Zoom and here, so that's why it's important for you to mute yourselves. Thank you very much. So before we begin our service, I saw this done last night in Redlands at Emmanuel, and well, not everybody heard me. We're going to have to work with it. And so we have 3, 7. We have 10 yahrzeit candles here, and this is not for Yisker or for your own personal yahrzeit, but for those of you who might feel inclined to light a candle. In light of the victims in Israel of this last week, please feel free to come forward and light a candle. Now would be a good time. I got 10 of them, and there's about 30 of you out there, so we don't need. There's no prayer to go. Take our, no, don't do it that way. Take our. That way.
Not a bad idea.
And I'm going to arrogate to myself these candles. Not often a man lights the Shabbat candles, so there's no reason why not. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
No, I said Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Nice to see everybody. They tell me I'm wired. Tell me if that's right.
Yep.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la,
Ya la 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 la.
bim bim bam, bim 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 bam, la 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 la, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat
Shalom,
Shabbat
shalom,
Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam. Page 128. Now I hope we set the books up so that everybody's got one of the thick ones, so I don't have to call out 2 pages. Page 128. Yedid Nefesh.
nefesh avarachman, yedid nefesh
avarachman, meshochamecha, eretz onecha, meshochamecha, yala la la la, eretz onecha. Page 138, Chadodi.
Lecha dodi lekrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor וזוכר בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ונטילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, לפני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי ביורך ומיורי, אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Please stand and face the right. בואי ושלום העטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני Gam Segula, Boichala, Boichala, Lecha Nodi, Lecha Nodi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela, Lecha Nodi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela.
Please be seated. Let me remind you, this rising at the last verse, so please be seated, is as soon as you say Ba'i Chala, please feel free to be seated. Unless the Shabbat Queen is actually there, then you should definitely remain standing. But just feel free to sit right down. We're going to do a song written by Nomi Shemer called Lu Yehi, page 656. We're going to eliminate the second verse, but it's a song like a couple of Nomi Shemer songs. It's got a history that I'm not going to go into right now, but it was written in the wake of the 1973 Yom Kippur War. So it kind of fits into the moment now. Page 656.
Having a little problem here.
What's that?
A little problem.
We're having tech problems galore tonight.
Yeah, almost there. I'd like to teach you part of the response in the song that comes back on each verse and chorus. And it's the part that says, may all that we ask for come to pass. And that's Kol shenevakesh lu yehi. I'll sing this for you. Kol shenevakesh lu yehi. Everyone? Kol shenevakesh lu yehi. Once more. And Kol shenevakesh lu yehi. Hod yesh mifras lavan ba'ofek mul anan shachat kavel. Everyone, Kol shenevakesh lu yehi. ועם החלונות הערב או נרות החג רועד, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו. Everyone, Kol shenevakesh lu yehi. Ma kol anot ani shomea, kol shofar ve'kol tupim, kol shenevakesh lu yehi. לו תשמע בתוך כל אלה, גם תפילה אחת מפי, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו כל שנבקש לו יהי. בתוך שכונה קטנה מוזלת, בית קט עם גג אדום, כל שנבקש לו יהי. זה אין סוף הקיץ, סוף הדרך, תן להם לשוב היום, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי.
Atzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי לעלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא, ויאמרו אמן.
We praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. We praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due, now and forever. Page 146, please rise. Seated. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, who skillfully opens the gates, who thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot, God of hosts is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai Tsevaot Shemo, El Chai v'Kayam tamid yimlocha aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim. Page 150.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shochvenu u'b'kumenu Nasiach b'chulkecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה.
ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Hear, O Israel, the eternal, our God, the eternal is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. 152, please rise. Carol Lee.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Carol Lee has a surprise.
I lost my voice. So tonight, I want you to sing the after to me. I'll whisper it. Everybody else will do it, okay? I'll start you off. V'ahavta hey
ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווה היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ותקרבת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבתך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Very good. I heard you all.
But I don't think Carol Lee recognizes the actual miracle of his last 2 minutes. Didn't you hear her voice get stronger and stronger? Prayer will do that. Prayer will do that. Together, top of 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for your God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Bottom of 154. Adonai Elohechem. Amen. Top of 157. I think this is a particularly apt reading at this point in our history. Again, together, please. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and joining. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, a song of peace. Mi Chamocha 158.
Mi chamocha b'olim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malchutecha rahu banecha, bokeh Moshe Miriam Zelianu ve'amru Adonai yimloch Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
V'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov u'galo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Shamaru, page 162.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם בני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. 164, please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avot Benu Leveimotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah Al Hagadol Hagibor Vehanora Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים. צומח נוכלים ושורפי חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונהיות ליל החיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה לכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללו לסלע ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of our lives, the wonder beyond words, for the awareness of our soul, the light within us, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day after day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer our thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha noel lehodot. I'm going to refrain from walking around the congregation and embarrassing you. I think under the circumstances, we'll put off the gratitudes until next week. But I do, in light of what's going on, I have to tell you one thing for which I am particularly grateful as to what's going on in Israel, and that is that as of, I think, 48 hours ago, I don't remember the exact timing, what seemed to be demanded by the country and by the editorial writers and by people all over the world, but Netanyahu seemed to be reluctant to do. He finally formed it's not a national unity government, but he formed a war cabinet. And three of the four members of the war cabinet, I guess four of the five members of the war cabinet know what they're doing. It's not just Netanyahu and Gallant, although Gallant seems to know what he's doing. He's the Minister of Defense. In addition, there's Ron Dermer, the former Israeli ambassador to the United States, Gadi Eisenkot, the former, he's a general, and I think he was what? I was going to say that, and I think he was former chief, that's not the title, but like that. And also Benny Gantz, who was Netanyahu's main rival and who was also the chief of the army. He's a general as well. So these are three of these five guys I have faith in. I don't know about Netanyahu as a wartime prime minister. And Dermer, I think, is on this council. My guess is he's going to be the person talking to the United States. I have one other thing to say about that, but I'm going to say that during my remarks. And I'm particularly grateful about that because there's no reason to rehearse no reason to rehearse this anymore, but to remind us all that this is a very difficult and dangerous moment, and to have Benjamin Netanyahu and Gallant doing it by themselves was not a good idea. It's also, of course, politically, it's militarily important, but it's also politically important because Gantz, as the opposition, as part of this, brings a kind of a unity to the government and a unity to the country, and I'm particularly grateful about that. So, we continue on page 178 with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol ha-shalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol ha-shalom. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol et ufchosha bishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru. Amen. Page 371. As we bring to mind members of our community, family, friends who are in need of healing of body and spirit, Gloria Mangus, Pamela Mangus, Judy Richmond, Glickle Sarabat, Devora Milka, Gittel, Vicky Dix, Colton Wayne Whitaker, John Cruz, Dan Strauss, Darlene DeMason, Linda Stroman, Charlene Beck, Eddie Archibek, Dan Hantman, Tom Steig, Kerry Bardeen, Kenny Hayes, David Bartlett, Brian Kinman, Robin Mendez, Dorothy Oudson, David Coopersmith, Don Oppenheim, Tim Hayes, Judy Cronenfeld, Max Krohn, Jory Yarmoff, and Rabbi Philip Posner.
This thing is wrong.
Misheberach avotenu mekol habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you very much. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem, rashechem, shivtechem, ziknechem, shotrechem, kol ish Yisrael. You stand this day, all of you, before the eternal your God, your tribal heads, your elders, your officials, every household in Israel, your children, your wives, even the stranger within your camp, from the wood chopper to the water drawer, to enter into the covenant of your God, which the eternal your God is concluding with you this day, in order to establish you this day as God's people, in order to be your God, as promised to you, as sworn to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to your mothers Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel. So begins Parashat Nitzavim, which we read on Yom Kippur, And on Yom Kippur, it's the story par excellence of covenant as the Israelites are preparing to cross over the Jordan and become a nation. Moses, in kind of an act of desperation, certainly an act of wanting to be a little bit of a mansplainer, tells the Israelites that all of you stand before God today, all of you, your children, your wives, your husbands, you, the water jar, the stranger who is within your midst, all of you today stand before the eternal your God in a covenant that I started with your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel. And when I thought about these verses in terms of today, it seems to me that the verses have a modern applicability that Moses probably didn't understand, didn't have in mind when he wrote these words. Because today, aren't we today, all of us, standing before the eternal our God? All of us, every one of us, no matter where we live as Jews, America, Canada, Mexico, Poland, England, of course, Israel, every place, Australia, every place there's a Jew. Together, we've been standing together for the better part of a week now, and this standing together is going to go on for a long time. Drawn together by a desperate need to be together, to be as a community, to follow what's going on, to contribute to what's going on to the extent that we can. But it feels like one of those moments where we are renewing the covenant in a dark, negative kind of way, but nonetheless forcing us to come together. So I'm not going to rehearse too much of the specifics as to what's going on. You can read that in the paper. All the papers are covering it. All the Jewish-oriented podcasts and blogs are covering it. It's too much, and certainly too much to bring up on a Friday night on Shabbat. But there are horror stories, human interest stories, the government of national interest. And by the way, I failed to say during the gratitude that when Benny Gantz was, remember, Benny Gantz and Netanyahu are not just in the opposite parties. They really hate each other. At least I don't know what Netanyahu's emotional makeup is, but Gantz hates Netanyahu for what Netanyahu did to him when they were in the government 2 governments ago, when Netanyahu pledged, I'm not going to break my promise, Benny, come into the government, and in 18 months you can become prime minister. But instead of that, Netanyahu broke up the government, so Benny Gantz wouldn't become prime minister. But so when a reporter asked Benny Gantz, why are you doing this? Benny Gantz didn't say, well, because Bibi and I have kissed and made up. He said, I'm doing this for the country. I'm doing this for the unity of the country. He understands how he's needed in this particular role. And whatever he feels about Netanyahu, he put aside. And in fact, the Atem Nitzavim Hayom, you are standing together. First of all, I felt throughout America. I mean, the coverage I've seen, the things I've observed, the people I've spoken with, the activities, the giving, the rallies that people in the United States and all over the world are engaging with are telling me that this is an Atem Nitzavim moment here. But Kal v'chomer, all the more so, we're having this technical problem with the computer, all the more so in Israel. So I just got I got 2 stories, 2 quick stories. One that when this war was declared, and 2 about my kid. I'll end with my kid because it's my kid. So, as I'm sure you know, Israel has a relatively small standing army. I don't know what the numbers are, but let me say 150,000 at the most. 150,000 at the most. How does Israel function in the time of war? Well, they have the situation where you are called up for reserve duty on an annual basis, sometimes a semi-annual basis. And you may have heard the story about these airline pilots who refused to show up these were not soldiers, these were reservists who refused to show up during these protests. Their volunteer duty was once a week. I believe it's once a week, certainly a couple times a month. And they for the duration of these protests, they didn't do that. So the call goes out. As I understand it, specific people throughout the country are told to show up for duty. And what happened? 150% of those who were called showed up. Over 300,000 men and women showed up to do their duty. People got on planes. Israelis got on planes from all over the country to show up to do their duty. There was this sense, not only was there this sense of imminent danger, which there is, but there's this sense among the Israelis that this is where I need to be. Even people who were no longer in reserve duty or who were never in the army to begin with for one reason or another, showed up and said, put me to work. Put me to work because there's something to do. And that's pretty impressive. Benny Gantz is pretty impressive. I suspect, though don't hold me to it, that he'll be the next prime minister and not too far off in the future. But he showed up. He showed up because he was needed, not because he wanted to, not because he wanted to sit at the same table with Netanyahu, but because he was needed. And in a sense, all of us are standing today, all the Jews around the world, all 15 million of us, whether we know it or not, are standing today before the eternal, our God, this covenantal moment, renewing our connection to each other and thereby renewing our connection to the eternal with whom we have had a covenant going back several millennia. And so my kid, Talia, she's an Israeli citizen, some of you know, maybe many of you know, maybe most of you know. She's been there for a bit over 4 years. And as this conflict became clear, the severity of it, she started thinking to herself, maybe I'll come back to the States for the duration of the war. And she got permission from her boss to do her work, the kind of work she does, she can do remotely. She got permission from her boss to come back to the States. She identified a ticket. As you can imagine, they were getting hard to buy. And she got a ticket that would put her in Istanbul for 6 hours on Turkish Airlines. And we said we'd cover the cost of the ticket. I swallowed hard because it wasn't a cheap ticket. And she was going to go to Dulles. The flight was to Dulles, and she was going to go to stay with a friend of hers in D.C. and work remotely, and then go back when she felt good. That was, I got my days mixed up, but let's say it was Tuesday. Might have been Monday. She contacted us toward the end of her day. Remember, there's a 10-hour difference between Israel and here. She says, I'm having second thoughts. Let me sleep on it. And she texted us the next day, and she says, I'm not coming home. I'm not coming back to the States. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay home. And it was pretty nasty for a couple of days. She's a single woman living alone. She lives with her dog. And to her credit, and maybe a little bit to her discredit, we can talk about this at the ONEG. She has this dog, and she treats the dog like a person. And this dog is very important to her. It's a very nice dog. But I told her, because I know all, I said, Talia, put the dog into daycare, or just leave her there and go to your friend Sarah's and stay with her and come back a couple of times a day and walk the dog as needed. And she resisted it until she got really kind of freaked. And then she called her sister. I'm not going to go into too many details. She called Ellie, and Ellie said, put the dog in doggy daycare and get over to Sarah's. And her life changed that day. Her life changed that day because she was there in an apartment with 8 other people, all they're making up their own little mini kibbutz, hunkering down for the war. And then I hear the next day, and you got an email about this. I don't know if you read the email. She texts us and says she's gotten involved in a project of acquiring specific kinds of things that the soldiers in the North need. This is not for the soldiers in the South. Soldiers in the North need. And she started raising money. And as of today, she's raised about $3,500 for various kinds of things, clothing things, blankets, mattresses, different food items, water. And by the way, I'm not here to fundraise, but if you didn't open that email, or you did and you didn't want to contribute, the subject matter is ways to contribute from Rabbi Cohen. And I give you 2 ways there. You don't have to contribute to Talia, but if you do Venmo, this will really help continue this project of hers. And so this gets back to Atem Nitzavim, because in the way, what I hear in her voice when we talk, and what I see in her writing when we text to each other, is that maybe really for the first time that she's been in Israel, she feels useful. She feels good about herself. Not that she feels bad about herself, I didn't mean to say that, but she feels good about what she decided to stay and what she decided to do when she decided to stay. And I think in some way or other, she may feel more deeply Israeli at this moment than she ever did before, because it's an Atem Nitzavim moment. We're not just in Israel, but all of us, as I said before, we all stand before God today, renewing the covenant, renewing our connection to each other, renewing our solidarity, renewing our unity, and renewing our need to do what we can to help those people over there as they fight this awful, awful war. Shabbat Shalom. Where to, Elliot?
Psalm 23. This is setting by Gerald Cohen, who's a cantor back in the New York area. And this setting he wrote about 20 years ago and is spread all around the world, actually, in a choral and a solo version. And I'd like to share it with you. Adonai roi lo echsar bino de shar yarbitzeni al me menuchot yenaleni nafshi yoshev yeshovev yancheni b'magel tzedek yancheni b'magel tzedek leman anshemo gam ki elech begetz al mavet lo yira ki ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni taroch lefanai shulchan neged sorerai dishanta vashemen roshi kazir evaya ach tov chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai veshavti bevet Adonai leorech yamin Adonai roi lo echsar Adonai roi lo echsar.
Thomas and Ellie, Jason, all right, could you come forward and open the ark for us? Non-speaking part, page 586 for the Aleinu. Both thou please rise it.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרמים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Mourner's Kaddish, page 599. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own this evening. We recall the memories of Glenn Aiken, Gloria Birkenwald, Phil Burns, Julius Brandler, Ella Briskin, Jacqueline Brown, Ellen Goldstein, Helen House, Cecile Katz, Eileen Klieger, Sadie Lipkin, Max Lipkin, Florence Rachman, Jenny Silverglate, Leonard Silverglate, Gertrude Weiss, Joe Wilson, Nancy Grace Wilson, Gertrude Bauman, Milton Doctor, Thelma Essig, Samuel Essig, Joan Fisher, Joseph Goodman, Marvin Greenberg, Ralph Kinnell, Michael Koenig, Edith Rudman, Rose Schwartz, Norman Sederholm, Cheryl Solomon, and Samuel Wasserman. Zichronam livracha. May their memories all be for a blessing. And of course, we bring to mind all of those soldiers and civilians, men, women, children, and babies who died in some of the cruelest ways imaginable in the last week in Israel. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yalama divarach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chay yedecho beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'meru,
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach li'olam ul me'ol maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudashah le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'maromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru. Amen. Please be seated. Announcements.
First, I will read this latest announcement, which is that at the Bell Tower at UCR on Tuesday, October 17th, 6:30 p.m. evening, will be a night of prayer and remembrance for all victims of terror. That's 6:30 on Tuesday, the Bell Tower at UCR. UCR. Let's see. Please join Rabbi Cohen tomorrow, Saturday, October 14th, 10 a.m. on Zoom for a discussion about Israel. In this meeting, you can ask your questions, voice your concerns, and learn more about the situation unfolding in Israel and Gaza. You can find the Zoom link in the reminder email that was sent earlier today. The beginning of the adult mitzvah class is slightly delayed and will begin on Wednesday, October 25th at 7 p.m. The first class in Rabbi Cohen's Lehrhaus Thursdays, Spiritual Autobiography, will begin on Thursday, October 26th at 7 p.m. Look out for an email from Rabbi Cohen introducing these classes. And please join us next Friday for Shabbat service, led by Rabbi Cohen. If you RSVP'd for Cafe Eternity this Sunday, October 15 at 2 p.m., you should have received an email from Mackenzie about the new meeting place. The Onig tonight is sponsored by Avi Altman in honor of Harold Altman's birthday. Let me just say one more word, and that's that almost all of you should have received a reminder from our president, David, there about the High Holy Day Fund Drive, which this year is dedicated to providing security guards at services and other temple events. And I will say that the donations seem to have picked up very sharply over the last week because security is in people's minds a little more than it has been. We still need a few $1,000. So when you think about security, and you're going to be thinking about security one way or another a lot over the next few days, if you haven't given, please give. Thanks. Shabbat Shalom.
Please turn to page 374 and rise with for Hatikva.
Kol od ba'leva pnima, nefesh Yehudi homia, olfatei mitzrak kadima, ayin lezion Sophia, od lavda tikvatenu, התקווה בשנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים.
Thank you. Do it again, please. Kol haneshama
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Kol
Haneshama hallelujah, hallelujah.
Kol haneshama
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
So if everybody would find a friend, a neighbor, an acquaintance, a guest. We have several guests here this evening. Over here. Arm. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless all of us and care for us. May God's light shine down upon this beleaguered world with kindness and grace. And may God do what is necessary to move us forward into a world of peace, of shalom, permanent peace. Together we say, Shabbat Shalom. Stay for Kiddush. Stay for Kiddush. We got Kiddush and Mochi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Kevin.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishata b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahavat v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit. Ki hu yom techila b'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher yitziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodecha, ve'ahava v'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Hi.
Now, before we make motzi, I was remiss, and I really was remiss in introducing our guest in the back, that fellow standing up, trying to look unobtrusive. Well, now he's not unobtrusive. It's Pastor Green. He's our neighbor across the way, at the church across the way. So please feel free to introduce yourself to him. And, do you know about Seventh-day Adventists? It's their Shabbos too. So I don't know if you say Shabbat Shalom, but say Good Sabbath or something to him because it's their Sabbath also. Hamotzi.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
See you next star.